Nuclear missile ready. Nuclear missile ready.
Hello and welcome to another Alpha X Pro series. This one's a special one, guys. We are looking at the Alpha Pro series number 65 between two Korean GSL juggernauts, soO versus Zest. My name is Rushy. Good morning all the way from USA. It's just a little before 6 a.m., but I am very excited to be casting this game today with another great Alpha X member. Salavanth, how you doing today?
Doing pretty well. I mean, how could you not be? soO versus Zest. I mean, it doesn't get much higher tier than that. Both of them GSL round of 16 slash round of 16 players. Both of them GSL champion, GSL finalists in the past. soO not a GSL champion, but I believe these two played a GSL finals like a few years ago.
Oh yeah,
The very last game.
these two are just absolute. They're titans in the StarCraft 2 scene, not only in Korea but around the world as well. But we will talk about both of our players here in just a brief moment. We do want to talk to you about our show match today. For those of you that are grizzled veterans, you're in for a great treat with our Alpha X Pro series. But for those of you that this might be your first time checking us out, we host a pro series on a weekly basis. Typically these are like $50 to $75 prize pools, but today we have brought our pocketbook. $200 is on the line for our winners today. Today's winner will take home the lion's share of the prize pool, but they're gonna have to earn it. This is a best of 9 between these two players, so potential for us to go the distance today, Salavanth. We have a chance to start on Automaton. We'll start with a pre-picked map, and then loser picks the rest of the way out. So it'll be very interesting to see how we traverse through our maps today. We have a lot of different opportunities here for you to support these two players. As you know, $200, great amount of money. Would they want more? You bet they would. I mean, these two players, they play. The passion is real, and we want to try and contribute to them as much as possible. So in the chat, folks, Matcherino, the link is up at the top here. Click that link. It's a big code, APS65 soO v Zest. It's a long one. Feel free, you can copy and paste it if you want. I won't judge you. I won't judge you at all. But we want to make sure that we get those codes used today, folks. So feel free, click that link. You've got a great amount of time right here as we talk about our two players today. So Salavanth, talk to us about Zest going into this show match today.
So Zest's form is pretty good, I'd say, at the moment. Although, notably, he did lose 3-0 to soO in IAM Katowice just recently. But his pedigree against Zerg is certainly there. Just a few months ago, he actually won the Wardy TV map contest.
Oh.
He beat Solar 3-0, soO 4-2, and Rogue 5-4 on his way to the finals. In order to win the whole thing. So he can definitely bring it on any given day, including in, as he proved against Rogue, a best of 9, and really show his abilities. And for those who have not seen one of these tournaments before, one of these show matches before, it is also worth noting that since we have 7 maps and 9 games, should we go to Game 8, the entire map pool will be available once again for loser's pick to choose from. So the last 2 maps will definitely be on the most decisive, most favorite maps of the players who are choosing. So that could get very, very interesting indeed.
That is definitely going to be a mountain to climb for his opponent today, soO. But let's talk about mountains, Salavanth. soO has crested the ultimate mountain, 6-time runner-up at major events, and this year, I don't know if you've heard about it at all, but spoilers to anyone if you're not sure. soO was our Katowice champion this year, defeating the curse. He is no longer the Kong in Korea, and he has managed to take a win at Katowice. But I know that, sometimes those victories are a little bittersweet. He takes the Katowice tournament, but then at GSL, just a couple of days later, actually gets knocked out of the round of 16. So, soO definitely not, he's not impenetrable, but a very, very strong player. Of course, the world has been celebrating with soO in his most recent victory at Katowice. Very just great player, very storied history between not only Zest, but just the entire scene as well. And we'll be hoping that these two players can fight their hardest. soO's actually got a little bit of a hill to climb today. 61% win rate against Protoss. That's not his best. He's actually best in his ZVZ at 65% win rate. But of course, I mean, it's all above 50%, isn't it?
Only in the top of Korea would you look at a 61% win rate in the matchup and say, you know what, that's actually not that great. He could be doing better there.
Guys,
So,
there's the noise. Sorry, don't mean to cut you off. I apologize, but there's the noise. We are going to get ourselves going into this game number 1, folks. Buckle in. This is going to be an outstanding show match. Any final words before we get started here, Salavanth?
First intro or second? Rashi?
Oh.
Which one do you want?
I will let you take the first intro. I will be a gentleman.
Alrighty. In that case, we will be hopping onto Automaton. Very interesting map. We'll talk a bit more about that map in the future as we get into this game already. soO has assessed in the bottom left. Representing Team Chivo, I am Katowice champion. It is soO.
And spawning in the top right, our blue Protoss playing for Ocean Gaming. New team to my knowledge. This is Zest.
It is definitely great to see new teams investing in StarCraft 2. Despite the game being declared dead for about 8 years on Twitch, if you will have them believe, despite I believe the game being out for about 7.
What a dead game. Can't believe it. And then we wake up early, stay up late, and we watch this game. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I don't know who managed to convince someone to make a $400,000 tournament for a dead game, but clearly it's the greatest scam that anyone has ever run.
Just imagine if this would have been in a live game, Salavanth. Could it have been like 7,000, 8,000, or 700,000, 800,000? Who knows? The ceiling is just unimaginable.
No way to tell. Alright, so this map, very interesting because I kind of feel like it's overpowered for both races at once. It's very strong in the air, of course, because of that 270-degree of entrance into the main, which is good for Mutalists, but I'd say it's better for Protoss, as they have the ability to make Phoenix, double Stargate Phoenix, very strong on this map. But it's also very wide open. There's a lot of wide open spaces. It is a big map. It is very difficult for Protoss to actually push across, to actually deal any damage to the Zerg and harass them and keep them in check. If Zerg wants to get a wide arc on the Protoss, it's very easy for them to do so. Even when attacking, it's not that hard to do so once the Protoss tries to move out to their 4th base. The only 4th bases are really near that goal, which allows for easy flanks, or over at the north, which is an incredibly easy place to just get a huge arc on. So I'd say it will come down to which side uses the map best. I say this every time in Automaton because it's always true.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely onto something here with this map. Personally, as a Zerg player, I really don't care for this map, but mostly because I really am not wild about mutas. But I think air control is so important in this map. As you stated here, the air distance between these two bases is just incredibly short. But this does open up a lot of really interesting play for Zerg players as well. Nidus, really popular, really strong right now, and there's tons of space in the main to drop a Nidus in and create lots of pressure. So I agree with you. I think it's going to be whoever uses the space and uses the map design to their advantage the best. That's going to be the one that comes out victor here. Zest is going to take the Adept here and kind of zip up into the main base, do a little bit of scouting. He doesn't let that Adept finish, so he's going to get scouting in both directions here, going up into the main and confirming that there is, in fact, a third. Going to try and maybe tag a couple of drones. Nope, instead, oh, Willie. Oh, not quite.
3rd base up for soO nice and safely. Phoenix first from Zest, just wanting to get everything out of the way. I imagine both sides probably going to open the first game fairly standard to get an idea of where their opponent's at today. They're like matadors with bulls, with the jump aside with the first cast in order to see which side the bull favors and where the bull wants to go and how strong or fast it is. But this is a best of 9. I fully expect we're going to see a lot of variety in these builds. If you're predictable in a best of 9, well, if you're going to be a one-trick pony in a best of 9, you'd better be an unstoppable pony of death, because otherwise you will be counted and you will lose the series.
What a great way to illustrate that. I absolutely love it. Little Harassment's going to come in here into the main base for Zest. Got one Phoenix, one Oracle. Oracle's going to do some work while the Phoenix kind of tends the gate
But
here.
that's actually some bad moves with that Oracle. Ooh, it does get 2. I thought that was going to die, but it just manages to get out of the way. Good queen movement by soO. Nearly takes out that Oracle. As it is, 2 drones is about as good as you can hope for when an Oracle and a Phoenix come into your main just as the Spore is not even finished yet. We do see a Warp Prism coming out of Zest. 2 more gates. Templar Archives, so we'll be seeing the Archon drop.
God, they're
Templar
just so good
base.
at the game, Salavanth. They're so good. Just even the little
These
stuff.
guys? No way.
No way. That's definitely not why they're playing for $200 today. No way.
Exactly. It's all star power. It's all just the names.
Ah, yes. A little Baneling Nest coming down here for soO. So kind of getting prepared for the ground force that is going to come. The Phoenix and the Oracle are just going to be used for that that early game harassment here, just trying to keep things going. It's going to be this Warp Prism that gets really interesting. So Templar Archives just now finishing up. So the high temps are going to get warped in. But this is scouted. Ling Runby is going to get right on top of it. So he is going to see that these Archons are coming in, but I think he's preparing for a little run by at the third base here.
In all seriousness, you are right about the small things. Small things, 1, having the Oracle on top of the Archons, and 2, look at the Zealot and Adept positioning. He's got the Zealot in front just to do that little bit more damage if the Lings decide to attack. There is 6 Banelings on the way to try and bust down this third base. Meanwhile, we've got an attack for the Archons. Queens and Lings fighting against it. The Lings doing a lot of damage. The Archons doing a lot of damage to the Lings. Warp Prism is forced away, but in the meantime, all of the Lings and Banes will destroy everything at that third, and that third could very well be in danger of going down. But he does run away. He did take out all of those units at that third base, but wasn't able to finish the deal with that Oracle in the sky. These players are so fast that he cannot keep up, and the Warp Prism goes down as well.
Oh, so that's actually really bad for Zest. He loses the Warp Prism. He loses both Archons, but he does manage to keep the third base, but it is not... Well, soO decides that he needs to pull back here. Nope, he is going to decide to go for it. So he's going to try and get aggressive here and make Zest pay for losing the Warp Prism. But there is an Immortal. Ooh, the Immortal's actually caught out here.
Yeah, that Immortal is going to take a very long time to die, but eventually it will. It cannot stand up to all of those Lings. In the meantime, we've got 2 more Archons being produced and a Warp Prism to ferry them across the natural. But I just don't know if it will be in time. The Oracle is an absolute champion when it comes to destroying Lings, but I just don't know if it's going to be enough. And yeah, that's it. Zest just knows he's never going to recover from this. He GG's out.
GG is called, and game number 1 is going to go to our IEM Katowice champion, soO. So... very fast-paced game there to start off game number 1. I'm not surprised on that map, mostly because we talked about how kind of different that map is in terms of controlling space, but I can't help but feel that losing that Warp Prism, that was the swing, the momentum that soO needed to push back in that game.
Absolutely, you cannot afford to lose the Warp Prism at that stage of the game. It is practically game over if you do that. It is so expensive to produce those Archons, and you put your entire build around it. That Archon drop is what stops the Zerg doing exactly what soO did, running across the map with a bunch of Lingbane and pressuring you. It is even supposed to force roaches, and soO held with just Lings and Queens. He is playing extremely well today.
Yeah, so, but as we've illustrated, this is not going to be down and out for either one of our players. This is a long series here, so it's going to be the first of 5 wins today. We are going to be going to King's Cove next. This is actually a really fun map. I'm kind of excited to see what these 2 players are going to pull out here in this map. We'll talk about that in a moment. Let's talk about some of the great places that you can catch some of our Alpha X content. If you want to follow everything Alpha X, you can catch us at our Twitter, twitter.com/AlphaXSC2. If you really like these Pro Series and you want to keep supporting bringing in big names like soO and Zest, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/alphaxsc2. Of course, check out our Matcherino. Everybody can go over to there. We have a free $1 code for you to use. Typically, these are just 50 cents, but today we're bumping it up. We're making it $1. APS65 soO v Zest adds $1 to the prize pool. Guys, it's so simple. Matcherino they are StarCraft 2 Passion Lords. Let's just be very clear about that. And they support everything that we do. So take the opportunity, take advantage of the codes, use those up, tell your friends, get them in here. Oh man, you have no idea how awesome this is for us to be casting these two players. But we're going to be going to King's Cove here for game number 2. So as a Protoss player, Salavanth, how do you feel about this map?
I love King's Cove. It is my favorite map against Zerg. It is incredible for Protoss, and I'm not shocked in the slightest that Zest decided to pick it for game number 2. It is a very good map for defense. You have those 3 bases. They are nearly impossible to break with any sort of frontal assault. I wouldn't be surprised if this game goes very long.
I can see this one going the distance. This is actually a really fun Zerg map as well. Tons of run-by paths. Lots of opportunities to get into that mid and late game, expanding into a 4th and a 5th. This is really accessible map for both players, and you're absolutely right. This is going to be a fun one here as we hop in to map number 2. Let me get myself situated here. And off we go. Spawning into the top left-hand corner of King's Cove LE is our blue Zerg playing for Team Chivo. Guys, it's your IEM Katowice champion. Give it up for soO.
And in the bottom right, representing Ocean Gaming and representing the race of Protoss, losing an unfortunate game number 1, but now it's his map pick. Can he rally back and take the next game? It is Zest. So I meant to ask you this at the beginning of game number 1, but forgot in all the scuffle. It's a bit cheating now that the first game's already happened, but what are your predictions for this match, Rushy?
I predict that the first game, soO's going to play a scrappy style and come out. No, I'm just kidding. I would have to say, I think soO has the advantage in this series over Zest, but it's not going to be easy. I think it's going to be a 5-3 for soO.
Now the funny thing is, after that first game, I would be thinking of a 5-2 to soO, but I was actually thinking of 5-3 myself before the series started, so we are on the same page here.
Dang, look at us.
I would love to see it go to game number 9, but I do think soO just has a bit of an edge right now. He's just won Katowice, he's clearly in good form. GSL didn't go so well, but he was in a group of death, that's for sure. TY, soO, and Rogue all in the same group. I mean, to say that you lost to TY and Rogue, no one can be too disappointed at that.
No, absolutely not. But guys, you've heard our predictions. Let us know in the chat. What do you guys think? Yeah, we know. We're a little behind the gun, but for my excuse, it's early. For Salavanth's excuse, it's probably early in Australia. You know, sometimes we just like to sleep in until 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. No big deal. But let us know in the chat who you guys think is going to take today's show match as we get wound up here into game number 2. Both players opening pretty standard, except soO took that cheeky 3rd hatch here really early. Typically you see that go down about like 220, 230, but he's opted right around the 2-minute mark to get that 3rd hatchery. He's going to really explode his economy, give him definitely some more larva in case he wants to maybe get a little aggressive.
It doesn't surprise me on a map like King's Cove. Going into that 4th and 5th is a little bit more difficult, but the 3 bases are practically free on this map. You've got those 2 ramps, so difficult to break up those. I can't wait to see what both these sides do. Zest is clearly showing if he's picking King's Cove, that means he's not afraid.
No.
He is thinking, alright, okay, so I lost my Warp Prism game 1. That was dumb. But I can totally beat soO in a macro game. I don't care that I lost 3-0 in Katowice. I don't care that I lost this first game here. I can handle it. Let's play on King's Cove. Let's play on my best macro map. And we are going to see an Oracle first out of Zest this time. A recent move that I've noticed, which I think is really cool, is that we do have the Phoenix being eschewed in favor of a Stalker. Adept does get a drone or 2, but will get taken down in the end. But you see that Stalker is going to take out that Overlord, and all of a sudden, because it's only sending 1 Overlord across the map due to the prevalence of Phoenixes these days, all of a sudden, Zest nice scouting, and he didn't have to make an expensive Phoenix. He was able to just make an Oracle, and that occasionally does surprise Zergs. It catches them off guard, because they are expecting a Phoenix first. This Oracle is already moving across the map. soO is not quite sure, and the Spore Crawler is not at the natural. He does have 2 queens, but one of them is not in position. This could get quite a few drones before it gets caught.
Well, we've been seeing a lot of Zerg. We've been seeing a lot of Zerg players not opting for any drone.
The queens are in position.
Yep, not opting for any Spore at the second, and just using the queens to kind of deflect everything away. And you talk about trying to min-max resources, just a little bit here, a little bit there. And if you can keep the queens in a good position and you keep them at that natural base, I mean, you save yourself 75 minerals. You might be thinking it's not really that much rushy, and you could just build that over time. But you know, in a game like this, in a game where these two players play so tightly against each other, it adds up, and it adds up very quickly. So these 2 queens are going to be used to body block for the natural, and actually 2 kills already, but it's so low. But here comes the real threat here. 4 Adepts moving across the map, and Glaives is about halfway researched here. So there's going to be a little pressure here at the front coming, and here come 14 Zerglings. soO's done a good job of scouting this out. He's going to be ready for this. Soonish.
These Adepts can get into a good position at this third. They're going to be nearly impossible to break with just Zerglings alone. And that's exactly what he's going to do. These Queens are already across the map though, so they're going to get some good damage done. The Adepts are body blocked by the Zerglings, and they're not able to get any real damage done. Glaives not yet finished. What really fascinates me about these metagame moves, like the Queen, as the Adepts are coming forward, we may have to cut this thing short. But what surprised me is for like 6 months or so, Zerg were making the 3 spores, right? Then nothing changed in the patches, but suddenly Zergs were like, wait a minute, we don't need that spore after all. Just goes to show how much more you can optimize this game if you really try. And as the game evolves, in the meantime, we got a lot of Zerglings. Zerglings are quite weak against Adepts, but someone apparently didn't tell soO that because he's completely crushing this.
Oh, the positioning was absolutely incredible in both of those positions. I don't think we even talked about the fact that soO used his lings to prevent all of the Adepts from wedging into the minerals, and just that positional awareness is so important. These Zerglings are going to push back across the map here, try and poke at the front door, but 3 sentries and a stalker are going to hold that back. But there's no third base. soO's going to come up here and see this, and he's going to realize that Zest is kind of in an all-in position here. He's adding gateways behind this. He's going to try and transition and get down a Templar Archives, so that way he's not 100% all in, but there's not much behind this. Queens are going to push away the Warp Prism as the Lings come back home, and I think soO is going to recognize what's happening. Yeah, he's getting Baitling speed. He's getting himself into a position where he can get really aggressive. I think at this point, if soO just holds down and prevents Zest from taking a third, I think he's in line to take a game number 2 here.
Oh, there's already so many Hydras and Veins able to be made at any given point. So far, this series has been all the soO story. The whole point, basically early PvZ, a lot of it is Zerg would love to go up to those early Hydras, but Protoss is trying to force them to make roaches with stuff like Glodepts and Archon drops. So far, soO hasn't done any of those things, and Zest has been unable to properly punish him for this greedy play. And so now, soO's in a much better position than if he had these roaches. We got 2 Immortals, they're not going to be anywhere near as good. We got like a single Archon. I don't think this army is going to do anything against a bunch of Hydraling Bane, especially because Baneling speed is going to be done for this push. A 2-base push against Baneling speed does not go well, especially with this huge flank being prepared already. He's got units everywhere to fend this off.
And especially if you have to push this far onto Creep Salavanth, soO needs to make sure he doesn't engage too quickly so that way he doesn't lose enough before he gets up the ramp. But at the top of this ramp, there's so much, and the creep spread is outstanding. Here goes Zest. He's going to march up this ramp. He's going to find the 2 spines right at the top. The Hydras are going to start getting to work. Some really good force fields here. Oh, the Banelings managed to connect. Oh, it's outstanding.
4 Links and Banes to smash in from behind, and Zest is getting absolutely crushed in this series so far, as soO takes an effortless looking 2-0.
Oh, he makes it look so easy, Salavanth. But there's a reason why he is our most recent champion of StarCraft 2. So, wow. Really nice first 2 games of the series here so far. Lots of variants from our players. I think we'll start to see even more coming out here. I mean, you made a very valid point about our players not playing too similarly throughout the entire map. Otherwise, it's going to just be a roll. I mean, we're going to find ourselves with a 5-0, and although it would be kind of fun to watch, I mean, we got 9 games we could play. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing all 9 games come out, but we will have to see what we have in store here. We're gonna get ready for map number 3. Guys, please do head over to that Matcherino link. Every time we get in between games, it's a great opportunity. We've got dollar codes available. Salavanth, do you like free money?
I love free money. It's my favorite thing.
Who doesn't like free money, Salavanth? I certainly do. I know as a teacher, I really, really enjoy finding an extra dollar in my pocket. I pull a pair of pants out of the laundry, and it's like, a free dollar. But in this case, we want to take that free dollar and we want to give that to our players here. And you can do that by going to the Matcherino link at the top of the chat. Use the code APS65, soO v Zest, and you'll be allowed to add $1 free of charge. Doesn't cost you a dime to our prize pool for these players. And they're playing their hearts out. I keep wanting to say this morning, I have to remember that in Korea, it's actually, I think it's midday, right? Midday or evening?
It's evening. In Korea. I'm only a couple of hours ahead of Korea.
Oh, there we go. So,
which is good for GSL times.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can believe it.
Here's some math for you guys. $1 for a Matcherino coupon takes about 30 seconds. That means it's about $120 an hour worth of charity work that you're doing by going over and putting that Matcherino code in. Now, I make decent money, but I do not make $120 an hour. That's for certain.
That's really good, especially when your job is to type in, like, what, 5, 10, 12 characters. I mean, that's pretty good. Oh,
it is pretty good indeed. And we're going to be playing on Year 0 as our map number 3. So another fairly macro map. It's like a little bit like King's Cove, but not as King's Cove-esque. It does have a bit more spread out bases. It is a little easier to attack that 3rd base, but it is also a very, very large map.
Salavanth, I actually have some good news for you. I've just been informed that all of our codes have been used. You guys are amazing.
That is fantastic.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you
outstanding.
so much.
So I just took a look at that, and our Overlord Sushi letting me know that we are, in fact, all done with the free code. So thank you so much.
What's that total prize pool?
Yeah. That total prize pool right now is at $200.70, but you can always bounce in and contribute a little bit more. There's some great opportunities in the hold on, sorry. Typing and talking and everything. Oh, we're going into Year 0 next, so we'll talk about that in just a second. But there's always great opportunities to contribute extra, a lot of great perks and swag that you guys can hit up, so feel free to check that out. But let's talk about map number 3 here, Year 0, one of the more interesting maps in the pool, created by our good friend Avexely from the Team Liquid map tournament. Talk to us about this map from your perspective, Salavance.
Alright, so it's a very large map. It seems like it's a very good map for air, but there's not as much open airspace as you might think. It's decent for air, but it's certainly not fantastic. It is also a lot like King's Cove, which is probably why Zest chose it, but at the same time, that means that soO could absolutely just try for this same extremely greedy build again. It is a map that in the late game is actually very easy to split. Despite its size, there's not a ton of bases on each side, a total of 7. And it is... I find it a lot more difficult to defend 4 bases on this map compared to King's Cove. Defending 3 is a little harder, but we'll just have to see how this goes. There's not a ton of great 4th bases on the map. Speaking of which, in the upper left, representing the Protoss race, representing Ocean Gaming, he's 2 games down. Can he find a way to stop the fast hiders of soO? It is Zest.
And spawning in the top right of Year 0. It's our blue Zerg player playing for Chivo Gaming. Give it up, guys, for soO. And in the top center, spawning as your favorite hybrid, He's lean. He's mean. He's Team StarCraft 2's Amon.
Yeah. Woo!
Yeah, so this is actually
Someday
a
Amon will
unique
cross
map
this world
where you
whenever
can
we
do
want.
a 1v1v1. So all three are actually vying for their spots. Amon here really opening really slow. Doesn't have any buildings in production. I mean, he's not going to win a game against these two players with that kind of speed, Salavanth.
Does he have to? It's just him. He needs like one action and he just crushes a Nexus.
It's so true.
Just looking for his keyboard at the moment. When he finds it, oh man, are you in trouble? So, I'm wondering what Zest can actually do. So he's been playing extremely greedily by not making these roaches, not even making the roach warren, and so Zest has been unable to punish it. I'm just a master scrub, but I think what I would like to see most from Zest would be a charge load all in.
Ooh, I could see that. And on this map, this is actually be pretty good. There's a lot of nooks and crannies in this map that you can just kind of position yourself, get a warp prism lodged in, and warp in a whole bunch of stuff. And that main base has got plenty of room for gateways. But what is also nice for this map is it's so wide, and it's not easy to just do a quick rush down the barrel and put pressure on your opponent. So soO, taking advantage of that wide map, immediately goes for that third base. Not that it was anything too, it's not too out of the standard norm for him, but it's very doable on this map.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not quite standard, but it's not really unstandard either to go for this 2-minute third base these days. You can pretty much get away with it against just about everything. Protoss doesn't really do the proxy gates or anything like that anymore, so there's really no reason not to do it. Meanwhile, do you see the Stalker once again from Zest to deny this Overlord without having to spend a Phoenix on it while the Adept goes across the map to get some scouting done. All looking pretty standard so far, but we do have a Stargate first, so we're not likely to see a charge load all in, though you can do it off a Stargate. This Hero has won some games by doing that in the past, but Hero is Hero. He kind of manages to do things that no one else really gets away with. Kind of like SOS.
I'm wondering if this Overlord can get into the corner here next to this giant glowing crystal. Look at this thing. Nope, I don't think it can widget itself. Well, maybe it can. I'm not sure if it's quite out of reach there, but the Stalker hasn't come up. It's just going to kind of chill here at the front, wanting to make sure that Zerglings don't try and sneak in. The Adept comes home from work. He's disappointed. He didn't make any money today. The wife Dep is going to be just so upset with him once again, but pulls off a gas here for soO. So soO trying to go for a little bit of a maximized opener here. Oracle's going to try and swoop in, and once again taking advantage of the queens in the natural, saving just a little bit of mineral count by using the queens instead of building another spore. I really like this. I think we're going to start seeing a lot of players continue to do more and more of this as the season continues.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing it for quite some time. It seems to be the standard way to play at the moment, to just make those 2 spores and keep 2 queens at the natural. You do want those queens for creep spread later on, so you may as well. You just don't need that extra spore crawler. Meanwhile, we're going to see another Archon drop, it looks like, from Zest. Hopefully he is able to keep his Prism alive this time. He was doing pretty alright with it right before that happened, though we did have that weird Ling Bane attack on his third base on Automaton that managed to take it down. We'll have to see if soO wants to go for something similar, but no, he's making a Roach Warren this time around. He's decided that he's played greedy twice in a row. Eventually this is going to wise up and punish him. Let's make sure we make a Roach Warren, though. We are going to go up to 55 drones, because come on. I'm still soO. I'm still going to play it that way against Zest.
Third base is going to come down here at about the 5-minute mark, so this is, it's a little... Oh, sorry, I pressed my Windows key by accident. Yikes.
You think Zest is
a nice timing. Archon's
Zest
here.
is someone who's known not for doing a lot of cheese? He's known for being a fairly straight-up player.
Yeah, and there's not many Korean pros that are very aggressive. Of course, you have like your SOS, your Parting that are known for their kind of cheeky, aggressive play styles, but it's not too common. But usually those players can play pretty straight up anyways. The Archons are going to come in here and start dealing a little bit of harassment damage to the Roaches, but some really nice pullback micro by soO is going to mitigate a lot of that damage. The Queens are kind of out on their own right now. They need to be careful because they can easily get chomped down by these Archons. There is a couple of infuses available, but he's going to lose one of them. Oh, he actually, I think that might have been a misclick.
He transfused the wrong Queen, I believe. And he's continuing to keep back this creep, which is very important, especially on a map this large, as the Hydrogen +1 roach speed all do come down. 4 more gates, so Zest is getting into the mid-game into a good position for the first time so far this series.
Well, I think you might get your wish here, Salavanth. 4 gateways on the way for Zest, and with Charge also on as well. I think we might be seeing a big push here with some Charge lots. The Archon's continuing to do more and more harassment damage here at the 3rd base, but the Roach count is just way too high right now. He's going to need a lot more than that to take care of business. But this is what's going to start getting set up here. He's great in sentry count here, a couple of Immortals, but the Zergling Scouts have been able to spot this moving out across the map, so soO knows it's on its way. 7 Hydras are in production as well. But here comes the big warp in right outside of soO's base here. This is starting to look like a scary army here for Zest.
Yeah, it certainly is. That is a lot of Archons, a couple of Immortals to back it up as well. There is a lot of Roach Hydra to defend. We'll have to see if soO can handle it, but this doesn't have to be like an all-in attack by any means either. One of the things that Protoss has begun doing a lot is essentially just sharking in this middle of the map to force the Zerg to make units instead of drones. Look at how few drones soO has right now. I think Zest is going to see this army and he's just going to back away. And the damage will have already been done.
Yeah, this is actually smart for Zest. Unfortunately, soO's really starting to explode here, so Zest is going to have something here. Ooh, big warp in, but soO's going to try and jump right on top of it, and he is going to be able to get it, but he's going to get choked up on the ramp. At the
same time, the charge lots are running out of steam, and that's when you need to really back away. soO just does have so many units. Zest has vastly underestimated his status in this game. I think he is economically quite far ahead and does not need to be fighting this. But he's going to lose this entire army in the end.
Well, and unfortunately, I think this is
the chance to counter. Oh, beautiful stasis ward. That could be just what the Doctor ordered, as this Immortal may just get away after all.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's too little, too late at this point. It's a great stopping point, but you're just, it's like putting a Band-Aid over a gushing wound. He's lost so much behind this. There's no 4th base on the way for Zest. 4th base is already done for soO, albeit the drones have not been transferred. He's just continuing into more and more army. But yeah, this is just going to be a push across the map. I don't think Zest has anything to stop this.
Yeah, look at the work count. It is totally fine that Zest does not have a 4th base, but the real threat is this army. soO committed so much to this army, to the defense, and then into the counterattack. The question is, can Zest hold? He's down 70 supply. I don't see any way he can, but if he can, he's actually in great shape despite the bases. But there is just so much here from soO. This Roach Hydra is pushing forward. The Warp Prism is trying to make a miracle happen, but it just cannot. And soO wins game number 3. Excellent defense, excellent counterattack as well. Zest needed to just back away, the damage done, but he decided to stay and keep harassing and keep forcing units for just a little bit too long. That style is on a knife's edge when you stay. Just another lava wave too long, you can get overwhelmed and killed, and even the best of us can do that, as Zest has just shown.
Oh, and that's what the best players do so well, right? They just are able to anchor everything down, and they just know. It's that innate second sense of, okay, I can see what my opponent has in front of me, and I can start making some really good calculated guesses. And it's not assuming. I mean, there's so much experience that goes behind these gut instincts of these players. Just knowing, okay, if I see approximately this much, there should be X amount at each bases in terms of worker count. About this point in the game, here's what my opponent should be going into. And they do such a great job of just running, exactly like you said, that razor thin wire of being able to completely maximize everything economy and army wise, but also being half a second away from just pure destruction. We're going to be going to Kairos Junction here for game number 4, but we are starting to come to a head here a little bit with our Pro Series. This is best of 9, so it's the first of 5 wins is going to take it. And soO is up 3 games right now. Great opportunity, guys, to check out our Twitter page, twitter.com/alphaxsc2. You can find out all things Alpha X. We do our Pro Series more than once a week. It's every week. But we have a lot of great names. We're working right now trying to secure more and more top tier players. So if you want to see more players like soO, like Zest, jumping into our Pro Series, feel free to check out our Patreon, patreon.com/alphaxsc2, where you can help support these Pro Series events. We don't always have the what I would call the S tier lineups. We've got a lot of great players that jump in every so often. Starkiller has been a feature placement on our series, Mamba, BioIce, and then outside of our Alpha X clan, we've brought in some really strong players. We've actually even had from the Korean scene in the past, Solar versus Creator. So this definitely are not our first foray into the top tier scene, but we'd like to continue to do more and more. So feel free to check out our Patreon. Of course, you can also head over to Matcherino. All of our free codes are used. Thank you so much for taking care of those, but you're always welcome to contribute out of your own pocket if you desire, because these players are giving us some really good games today, Salavanth.
They sure are. Even though soO's been winning these games, I'd say Zest is getting a lot closer. Like, as we were talking about that razor's edge, if Zest had left about 30 seconds earlier, he would have been in a fantastic position in this game.
Oh,
it's just so difficult for these players to get everything perfect every time.
It is absolutely true, and we are going to be bouncing into game number 4 here. It's going to be on Kairos Junction, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner. Our blue Protoss, he's looking for a game number 1 victory. He's going to need your help. He's going to need your energy in chat. Chat, raise your dongers for Ocean Gaming Zest.
And in the top left, representing Chivo, representing the I Am Katowice Championship, representing Zerg, and representing sheer unbridled destruction. Very much earning that demon head of Chivo today, it is soO. He's just looking unbeatable at the moment.
He certainly is, and it's going to be interesting to see what Zest wants to pull out here in game number 4. You get to this point, and you start to sift. So I can imagine in this last break, Zest is sitting there going, "Okay, all right, we're 3 games down. What can I pull out? What's in my bag of tricks that I can take a look at and say, you know what, this could do it. Maybe we could do a charge lot all in. Maybe we can do some glaive adepts." Although glaive adepts kind of were the focal point in game number 1, and it wasn't as effective as Zest was hoping for.
Yeah, game 2 he tried for the glaive adepts, and soO shut them down with just Ling Queen. I think that the best that Zest has done so far has been game number 3. I think he does a similar style. He is aggressive, he forces those units, but then he just backs away that little bit faster. That would have put him in a tremendous position. He would have been ahead economically, and he would have been in a decent spot defensively. I think if he'd brought his whole army home, he would have been able to fight at home, and he would have won that battle against the Roach Hydro, and then he would have probably gone on to win that game.
Well, I think Zest is going to be able to find a way to punish soO's early greed. So dropping this 3rd hatchery well before the 2-minute mark, I mean, it's more common to see this kind of play at the upper level because these players are just so dang good at the game. It's almost like they do this for a living or something. But
it's really not even that greedy in this day and age.
That's true.
At that point.
But
the real greed. So you would speak. Go on.
We are going to see that Stalker come out again and try and push things away. Ooh, but a second Stalker. Are we going to see a deviation here? Robo facility coming down as well? Salavanth, hold me. We're going to see a non-Stargate opener.
That is interesting. I remember seeing on All Things Protoss the other day a build which was a Stalker Warp Prism based harass into a +2 ICA timing. ICA being Immortal Charge Lot Archon. I wonder if that's what we're going to see here. I believe it was Stats who did that at first. And we are seeing a Sentry, we are seeing a Warp Prism, so I think we are going to see some Stalker based harass. What we might see after that, I am not sure of, but this is an interesting build that's only recently come into the meta. Normally Stalkers are considered very bad in this matchup. So I look forward to seeing how this actually works, and this Warp Prism will expose this Overlord, I imagine, and allow it to be killed off.
Well, he's going to need to get this Overlord taken care of because he needs the scouting information to remain secret. He's going to reveal that soO has gone for Overlord speed. So it's going to be the second Overlord that comes in and gets a good scout off, and he's going to see that Robo Facility, but he's going to see, more importantly, no Stargate.
Ooh, and there's actually an Immortal coming out for Zest, so he's going to probably go across the map with 2 Stalkers and an Immortal to harass this. That's a very interesting choice, I'd say. Making 2 more gates, I think we're going to see some aggressive, perhaps even some all-in-ish attacks. Yeah. But I don't know if he's going to go completely all-in because he has made these 2 gases and he has let them finish, but it does look like an Immortal Sentry all-in could be the tech of choice, but then he goes for an Observer. I'm not sure exactly what this is. I've only seen this build like once, and it wasn't quite the way that Zest is doing it now, so I'm just as new to this as you are.
This is going to be very, very interesting here. Roach Warren's going to go down here. soO's sniffing. He's sniffing around. He knows something's coming here. 2 Stalkers and an Immortal are going to be pressuring here at the third base. A couple of drones do go down, but the Queens are just in such a great position to push this off. Oh, they're actually going to chase just a little bit off a creep. They got to be careful about doing that. Another Overlord's going to swing through and see these gateways coming up. Yeah, this pressure's coming, and it's going to be coming in fast.
Yo, he's going for a Forge, so he's not actually going all in with this. He's going up to 6 gates in total, and he is taking a third base. So we do see a bunch of Roaches and Lings coming on the way for soO, but it's really Ravagers that killed this push. If you recall in Heart of the Swarm, this was a 2-base all-in that Parting did, and no one could do it better than him, and he would win so many games just off the back of this one push. Ooh, loses a Stalk at a bad positioning. Immortal Sentry is very good against Roachling, and you kind of need to get across. You kind of have to attack it while it's going across the map. We are getting Ravagers, which are the best defense against a build like this, but it looks like Zest doesn't want to commit because he's not all in. He just wants to back away, but soO's already on 55 workers, so he's doing just fine. And soO takes a supply lead, which you expect with Roach Ravager, but already 4 Ravagers up for soO. I think we're going to see a counterattack on this third base.
Well, and this is actually not a great position for Zest to be in. You mentioned that he's not all in on this. He really should have been. He waited on getting that third base for so long. He's down in economy. He's down in army. That kind of army build order is best served if it's going to attack at a specific time. But again, soO with such great control, those Queens never letting the Warp Prism get inside of his third base expansion to create pressure. So soO's going to do soO things, and he's just going to explode here. He's going to let his economy kind of kick in and take care of business. Only now are the Templar Archives coming down here for Zest, so it's going to be a long time before we see Archons, before we see Storm come into play. And soO kind of sensing that he's really ahead in this scene, just going to look at taking a fourth base and doing some more scouting. These Overlords have just been so clutch in this game for good scouting
There's
info.
a couple of interesting things I'd like to mention. First of all, Zest gone for a bit of an unorthodox way of trying to get back into this late game. He's going for double Forge. And the second one is that Zest's been making double Phoenix with hallucinations in this game because he has so many sentries. He's been just making them 2 at a time, purely so that they can stay alive for a little bit longer and scout the entire Zerg base. And I really like that. He's got the energy to spare, so why not? Meanwhile, soO wants to go for an attack with these Ravagers, Hydralisks, and Zerglings. We'll see if this can get anything done. +1 armor and charge is about to finish, so it's going to be 1-1 against 0-0, because +1 range is not yet finished for soO, so that's going to be pretty good for Zest.
Lurker Den's going to come down behind this, so soO's got a backup plan. He postured outside of the main ramp of Zest, and I don't know, soO got spooked or something. He went all the way back home. He didn't like what he was scouting. He sees that the third base is, no, it's not quite saturated. It's about halfway there. He's got a hit squad here on the north side, ready to go to punish whenever it can get work done. But I think he's just going to wait for that Lurker Den to get completed here. But every second that goes by is going to get Zest a little bit further back into this game. As you mentioned, double forage here, so he is going to get +3 weapons. He's already moving up to +2 weapons and armor. So these ground units of Zest are just going to get stronger and stronger as it goes along. Archons are now starting to be morphed in as well. Gosh, I really feel like Zest is missing Storm from this army. I feel like if he has Storm, this mostly Ling composition, it's going to be great. But here comes a little bit of attack here on the north side, but it is going to be the southern force that's going to be the scary part for soO. Zest does a nice job of holding it off. He has just the right amount of stuff at his third base to hold off this little hit squad. And actually, Zest's going to go on the move here.
Yeah, beautiful defense. He already had a bunch of Zealots at his third base to defend, and then he was able to warp in more and more. He has the perfect amount to defend against this Roach Ling just perfectly. That is extremely well done. He's still only on 56 workers, but he's now getting +3 weapons as well as +2 armor about to finish, so he could end up with 3-3 at some stage, which would be just a devastating ground army. And with soO on Lurkers, he's not really looking to tech up to Broodlords anytime soon.
No, and he's looking to play a little more defensive here, especially with these Lurkers. He's saying to Zest, you know what, Zest, if you want to win game number 4 here, you can come win it yourself. Gonna take a bulk of this army up the gut here, try and clean up a little bit of creep. soO's actually gotten some really nice creep paths going here to help with his scouting. Ooh, these Zerglings are going to be kind of caught here. These Zealots are pretty good with +2/+2. Big warping of Zealots here. Zest is ready to push in. He's had enough. He's ready to take game number 4 in style, but he's going to have to get a little bit better surround than that because these Lurkers are going to have something else to say about it.
Zealots on the north side moving up, but there's already a ton of Roach Ling to defend against that. soO does actually not have very much creep spread at all. Zest has been controlling it extremely well. His sharking maneuvers doing much better in game number 4 than they were in game number 3. And he's not really gonna overstay his welcome this time around because he's up against Lurkers, which means he can always retreat unless he does something really badly off, and he's nearly maxed out as well. In the meantime, we have these Roach Ling heading towards the third, and there's nothing to defend it.
Only one cannon, but that's not going to be enough to hold it all off. A couple of Zealots do get warped in here. Ooh, some nice hallucinations with the Colossus here to try and make soO think that he's got more than he does. But there's a big hit here at the third base. It's going to take a recall of some of these.
3 Immortals, an excellent recall. That's just enough to defend while the rest of his army can stay harassing. Zest definitely wants to continue this pressure, and he's going to take out this Roach Ling very well. He's also getting a 4th base, a bit late, but he's getting it now. Meanwhile, a hive on the way for... look at all those Zealots on the south side. Zest is attacking on both sides, and he's winning on both sides. The Lurkers are not engaging in the north, and everything is going to die in the south. Suddenly, Zest was up 20 supply from him before 25 Roaches on the way. 25 Roaches is not what you want at this stage of the game. Zest is taking a huge amount of control back.
Well, I think he kind of fell for the hallucination here. Zest putting a couple of hallucinated Colossus into the mix-up here. Roaches wouldn't be too terrible against that, but not against this typically a mortal-heavy army. A couple of force fields are going to come down. The Lurkers are just too far back here. They're not able to really engage on this army, and all of these Zealots are able to clean up the 4th base here. soO's in trouble.
Yeah, and Zest doesn't even need to attack. The 4th base is gone. It is 4 bases of Protoss to 3 of Zerg. That is absolutely magnificent for Zest. Zest just needs to buy time, but I don't think he even cares about buying time. I think he wants to go right now. Look at all those Immortals. Look at all those Archons. He's gonna, as soon as he finds a space where the Lurkers are not already in great positions, he's just gonna go in and kill this.
Yeah, Blink's actually on the way.
He doesn't even have Storm. He is not even bothered with it this whole game. He's just going for mass Archons.
No, and these Archons are going to be incredibly powerful against this type of army. This army likes to clump up a lot, and the splash damage from those Archons are going to be able to deal a lot of damage. Zest is expanding behind this, so 4th base is coming down. Blink is also on the way, but Lurker
It's
speed...
already down.
Yeah, Lurker speed is on the way as well. So soO is trying to get himself back into this game. He's certainly not down and out of it just yet, but the Lurkers are a little bit out of position here. Ooh, just enough bulk army here for soO to kind of hold everything back. But Zest is just trying to create problems here for soO. These Zealots are going to shut down the 4th base expansion here. And this is where soO starts to run into an issue. If Zest can just hold soO to 3 bases and bleed him out, eventually soO's just not going to have enough in the bank. And meanwhile, take a look at this. Zest has got 1,300 minerals banked up. He's nearly maxed out. He's in a great position right now.
And he's going up to 4 Stargates and a Fleet Beacon as well. He is sending Roaches and Lurkers over to this 4th base. But oh, look at this flank. This is a beautiful move. Even this Archon here to prevent the retreat. Archons are so fat, difficult to body block. soO is going to lose a huge chunk of army at a very good trade for Zest. And suddenly Zest is up 15 supply. He's up 12 workers. He's up 2 upgrades, about to be 3 upgrades. And he's going to have 4 Stargates worth of carriers to build up, while there is not even a Greatest Spire in sight for soO. Zest is in a dominating position in game number 4.
Wait a minute, I thought it was when behind Dark Shrine. Zest just dropping the Dark Shrine just for fun here. Yeah, soO's in a lot of trouble here. This 4th base is kind of exposed, though. I think Zest is just going to let it go. He's got enough army here to kind of take this, and he's saying, you know what? I'll base race you. I'm not in too bad of a position here. A couple of Lurkers at the ramp are going to try and push this bulk of this army back, but there's an Observer. Oh, he's just going to try and jump on the production. Zest just going for the throat, but meanwhile, soO is also going to do the same thing, taking the bulk of his army here. These Lurkers are fast, so they can burrow really quick.
A lot of this army. Immortals and Archons pulling back to defend. Meanwhile, Tempests are going to ensure that if soO has to engage into him eventually, he can't just rely on the Lurkers and wait for Zest to come to him.
Oh.
Zest has inevitability at the moment. If soO doesn't do anything, Zest just wins the game. So these Tempests are just going to continue to put a clock on soO. In the meantime, with these force fields, with all of these Immortals, I'd say soO's attempted base raids has turned into less of a race and more of a crawl, and GG, Zest will put a game on the board.
Hey, he's done it! Woo! GG to Zest, keeping himself in this series and bringing it back. It might just be one game, but you know what? That's a moral victory for Zest. He said, okay, I got this. I can stay in this. I can hang with the IEM Katowice champion, and he absolutely can. There's absolutely nothing that says that Zest is not capable, but GG, very well played. We're going to be going to Cyber Forest next. So, fun little short map here. It's actually the shortest rush distance in the map pool right now, but for a player like soO, who really has not exhibited a whole lot of like cheese or aggressive play, it'd be interesting to see maybe a Zest takes advantage of it. But we are going to take a moment here right as we get ready for game number 5, guys. Remember to hit up our Twitter, twitter.com/alphaxsc2. You can also check out our Patreon, patreon.com/alphaxsc2. This is a vehicle that we use to bring in some of these big high-tier players. So, guys, if you want to see more, matchups just like this one, head over to our Patreon. Support our great organization. We love doing these kinds of events and bringing this kind of content to you. Thank you so much, guys. 266 of you in the chat. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for being here. I know there was somebody that had mentioned the question, gosh, we're kind of hoping to see more and more people in the chat, and we're slowly working on that. I mean, if you're familiar with the Korean scene, Koreans are very much into Brood War. I mean, Brood War is like their heart and soul. StarCraft 2, very well loved. Obviously, the GSL is very well supported, but we're working on creating more and more content to bring to you to support these awesome Korean scene players. So feel free, share the links, let people know, get them in here. But we're so happy to see you guys in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. Something I always like to do, let us know where you're from. Let us know, because we got people around the world. I mean, from the central United States, Salavanth, all the way from Australia, the Casta from Down Under, and we like to know where you guys are from. So let us know in the chat where you are watching from today. Maybe it's early morning, maybe it's late night, maybe it's just right in the middle of the day. Any of them are good, as we're getting ready for game number 5 on Cyber Forest. Quick thoughts on this map for you, Salavanth?
I think this map is pretty good for Zerg. There's a reason soO chose it. It's a bit difficult to wall off. It's difficult to take and hold onto that 3rd and 4th base. It's got a lot of angles for attacks, and it's got a bit of a short rush distance. So I'm a bit worried for Zest here, and I think if soO wants to pull out something cheeky or something aggressive, now would be the time to do it. So in the upper left, still 3-1 up, but proving that even a champion can bleed. It is the Chivo player, it is soO.
And spawning in the bottom right of Cyber Forest. He's back in it. He was never out. He knew. Sorry, red Protoss player from Ocean Gaming. Give it up, guys, for Zest.
So Zest did win that game with essentially the same style of game number 3, just better executed with a different opener. He went for the Immortals, the Archons, didn't even go for Storm, but just was very aggressive with these units. It's interesting that the metagame has shifted a bit with the nerf of the Hydralisk to make this kind of thing possible, because before, the standard wisdom, about 8-9 months ago, was you cannot attack Zerg in the mid game. You just can't. You will have to sit back and defend, and you will need to wait for like 10-12 Immortals and Storm, or if they go for Lurkers, you may even need to just wait for carriers. And that was the way the game was for a long time. But now, in this day and age, the metagame is a bit more dynamic. There is more opportunities for Protoss to get on the map and harass the Zerg and threaten them, and really say, I'm going to kill you with my army if you're even a little bit out of position.
Yeah, it's fun to see the game grow and evolve. That's what keeps a game like this interesting and fresh over time. And what's really neat is that you get to watch all of these. I love your use of the word dynamic. These dynamic players that can just say, okay, all right, this is pretty good right now. Take advantage of it and come up with something really neat and interesting. And these players are always adapting. They're always creating something new. And then there's always moments where you're watching like a GSL cast, and suddenly you'll be listening to Tastosis, and they'll be going, wait a minute. Is that a Wings of Liberty build? And sure enough, a build from 8 years ago gets pulled out of someone's back pocket, and you get to relive the glory days of StarCraft 2. But we are getting ourselves wound up here. I'm actually really surprised here with as short of a map as Cyber Forest is. soO decided to go into a 3rd base, and we're going to see the same build come out of Zest here that we just saw in game number 4. Going to go into a robotics facility first. The only big change up here, no Stalkers. It's going to be an Adept. Yeah,
we will see. He's going Adept into Stalker. But we don't know if he's going to do the same thing again. I think he did go for an Adept first in last game, didn't he? Or did he just go straight into Stalkers with nothing else?
He went straight into Stalkers before he picked up any of his other gateway units, because he had 2 Stalkers to deal with the Overlords.
Oh yeah, you're right. This might not be the same build then. It can just open a robo for other things. And we have a very fast Roach Warren out of soO. He wants to get aggressive.
Yeah, and that's not surprising on this really small map. Some really nice micro here by soO. The Adept is going to get a couple of kills, but he does save a few of these drones. I'm liking this play out of soO. He knows that the distance here is really short. 5 roaches are going to be popping out here and taking care of business for soO. He is going to get aggressive really, really fast. But what is Zest going to be able to have back at home to deal with this? He does have a couple of more gateways on the way. He's opting for an Observer first. No, Zest, don't
Actually,
do
he's
it.
opting for an Observer second. He's opting for a Warp Prism first, and then the Observer. So he may not have an Immortal out in time to deal with these roaches, but he should spot these trying to move across the map with his Prism without losing any units. But at the same time, soO is still on 23 workers. Zest is in serious danger, and I don't know if he even realizes that he is until this Observer is about to... The Observer doesn't even see it. Oh, this is tragic for Zest. He has absolutely no idea what's coming his way. He's still probing up, and now the roaches are coming in. He's like, what?
Yeah, and this is going to be really, really scary for Zest to deal with, because everything here at the wall, these panic these panic shield
Yeah,
batteries.
so many
We've all
shields
been
going up.
here.
Immortal is on the way. If he can get an immortal out, that will defend him. But he needs to. The cyber core remains strong for now. These force fields doing so well. Oh my goodness, he's actually looking like he might just hold this. But is he out of force field? No, he just gets it in time. The lightnings start to flood in. The cyber core is down. There'll be no more stalkers. There'll be no more sentries. But it looks like with this immortal coming in, with these shield batteries finishing, Zest is going to hold this. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
One
that
more
back
zealot
line of shield batteries here, so clutch. The only problem right now is the cyber core was killed, so there's no sentries, there's no stalkers here for the time being, as soO is just going to continue doubling down behind this. Only now is he going to add a couple of drones into production, but this is such a bad position for soO to be in.
There's 4 shield batteries. The Lings are just not going to get the surface area they truly need in order to deal a ton of damage to this if Zest is paying attention. He is at the same army supply as soO, and he's got up 14 workers. He's even building a cannon. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to die to this. And soO is forced to try and transition out and macro, but he's already so far behind economically.
Yeah, this is a bad position for soO to be in. Anytime that you are down double-digit workers to a Protoss player, they will punish you in a heartbeat for that. And Zest is just going to build up this army here. I would be surprised to see him build any more workers at this point. He's just going to get that immortal count up to like 3 or 4, and then just push across the map with as much stalker, sentry, zealot pressure as he can. Meanwhile, soO, he's going to try and scrabble up some sort of economy here. Only now has he got himself back up to 44 workers, but it's going to be, I'm just afraid it's going to be too little too late for our Korean Zerg here.
Yeah, although soO, Zest is only just now getting a Twilight Council, so if he wants to do a 2-base attack, it will be extremely delayed. These Immortals are going to get some pressure on, but there's a lot of Lings to prevent this from getting any serious damage. I'm just going to pick away. soO has caught up in economy, but as you said, there was a long time where he wasn't up in economy, which means that there's a lot more army produced by Zest over the course of the game, plus 2 weapons. Ooh, almost catches that Immortal. Plus 2 weapons and charge and a Templar Archives all on the way. We'll have to see if Zest wants to take a 3rd base or if he wants to go for a very late, very tech-heavy 2-base attack.
And I didn't realize that soO actually delayed the lair as long as he did. It's just about 3/4 of the way done, but none of those tier 2 units are out on the map just yet for soO. Meanwhile, charge +2 on the way. I mean, Zest is working into his mid-game composition that's going to be so strong. soO, however, he's kind of brought himself back out of the brink here, doing some really nice defense against these 2 Immortals. I mean, so many times we see Immortals with a Warp Prism just getting so much damage done. I mean, the micro is just insane. It is going to be Psionic Storm coming behind here. Zest, he's mixing it up here in game number 5. I like it.
Yeah, he's definitely going very well. He's harassing, he's doing everything he can to keep the Zerg back, keep him honest, keep him busy, while he builds up to his own 3-base and heavy tech army. I wonder if we are going to see a timing attack when Storm +2 and Charge all finish up. I wouldn't be too surprised if that's what he goes for. He's already proven himself to be very willing to be aggressive and shark around the map. Sharking is an old Wings of Liberty term. Essentially, you would move out with your early Stalkers and Sentries, and you would take the watchtowers, you would harass the Zerg, you would force them to make drones instead of units. It was called sharking because if you stopped moving, you died.
So these Templar are
exactly
being warped. Templar are being warped in at the natural here. They're going to start collecting a little bit of energy. 4th base for soO is going to go down. Oh, it does get the cancel off, and this Warp Prism is going to go uncontested, at least for now. And then once again, this is where Zest thrived, is he prevents soO from being able to get his economy going. 3rd base for Zest is already up and running, so soO desperately needs that economy to start kicking in for him once again, and soO's just not able to make it happen right now.
Yeah, this is the point where Zerg should be like a good 10 workers ahead of the Protoss, but as it is, he's struggling just to keep up. Beautiful openings from Zest, excellent defense, and it's really paying off here. I wouldn't be surprised if we see an attack soon, but it looks like we do have +3 weapons on the way, so Zest does just want to get into this later game, most likely. Building cannons to defend himself and keep himself safe. He's like, alright, you've got basically Ravager Ling, there's nothing you can do to actually kill me. So I may as well just play for the late game and attack when I've got an army that's so big and so strong and so tech heavy that there is nothing you can do to stop me.
Well, Zest's going to have to be careful. That's a lot of banelings here coming across the map for soO. Some really good connections on the underbelly of this Protoss army, and it could be all over for Zest. And soO's going to push the issue. He's going to knock down these rocks. Zest knows it's coming here. Starts getting the High Templar put into position here. The storms are ready, and he's got plenty of them, but that's a lot of banelings. Salavanthe. It's going to take some really good micro on both sides. The army's going to come swinging around here. Some really nice storms blanket the army.
Brilliantly done, but now all of a sudden the army for Zest is stuck here. The banelings get some incredible connections. We've got one more storm, but no, it gets sniped. Oh my god, there's no way. Is soO actually going to take this? Zest moving backwards. He's desperately trying to hold on with the few units he has left. There's so few on both sides. More and more links coming flooding in. The Prism doing everything it can. Can soO actually break through here? No, there's more and more zealots coming in. Zest just barely holds off the skin of his teeth. I thought it was going to be an easy hold, but soO doing so well to make Zest really sweat after that early opening. But in the end, Zest the one who holds, and still with a decisive lead. And now I'd say this will be his chance to move out with +3 weapons about to finish.
Well, and it was those hero zealots at the very, very end coming in from the north. I think they were warped in to be a little bit of a counter attack here for Zest, but he had to bring those back home, and those actually ended up saving the day, zoning off the rest of soO's army. And Zest puts himself into a really nice position here. As you mentioned, +3 weapons are now in effect. And against those, against the army of soO, it's just +1. That's going to be an imbalance that soO's going to have a difficult time holding. Anytime you see a Protoss player, even in supply, against a Zerg, it's usually a big favorite to the Protoss player, as soO's continuing to max out, well, not max out, but he's continuing to build Zerglings behind this. He really wants to make these banelings work for him, but behind this, Zest moving out to a 4th base. soO is kind of on a back foot right here. He needs to kind of grab something together, but there's no higher tech on the way. He's still on lair tech. There is no Hydra Den. There's no Lurker Den. What's he trying to do here, Salavanthe?
This is practically a hatch-based army. I'd say that soO is just going to try and break Zest again, but I'd say his best chance to do that has already come and gone. I'd say soO believes he can't win a late game against Zest in this particular this game, given the way it has gone so far, and I'd say he very well might be right. I wonder... I think he's just going to have to go for another attack. I don't see any sort of late game plan for him. He's building a 5th base, but if he can't do some tremendous damage to Zest, he's going to be in serious trouble, because already we've got 6 Archons for Zest. There's not that many Storms actually, so he might be able to try to get something done. But it is Roach Ravager Ling Bane here. This is essentially a hatch tech army against a very decidedly not early game tech army from Zest. 6 Archons, 4 Immortals, a bunch of charged lots rotating around to the north. Let's see how this goes.
This is a nice position
got
here.
8 Immortals because he's got a couple more in that prison.
Yeah, and he's got a great position here on the ramp. Really nice surround of Archons with these Immortals. It's going to be very difficult.
He's going to destroy all of those charge lots to the north, actually, with those Banelings, so he will prevent that attack from happening apart from 2 charge lots, which means Zest has to back away. He split up his army, and one side of the army got destroyed pretty heavily, but at the same time, soO is in that vicious cycle that any Zerg knows, where you are forced to make units in order to stay alive, and then you are forced to make more units, and so on, and you're unable to tech or get a good economy, and eventually you will just get attritioned out by the Protoss unless you make something happen. But it feels like you never have that room to breathe, never have that room to try and get up to that higher tech, or else you will die at any moment.
Well, and that's the deceiving part about those army supplies here. As everything starts moving in, a nice concave here and surround for soO, but these Archons are going to be able to soak up a lot of damage from these Banelings.
Look at that. He's got basically pure Archon Immortal at this point. There are almost no charge lots, which is actually the unit you least want in your army later on in the game, and the Banelings are unable to do a thing. The Archons and Immortals kill everything, and all of a sudden Zest is up 50 supply, and he's about to move across the map and take this game. He is at the ultimate Protoss ground army, tons of Archons, tons of Immortals, and this hatch tech army just cannot compete. The Zerglings will be destroyed. There is no underbelly of the army left to be destroyed. Nothing to bite and nothing to sting, as Zest will take game number 5 and bring this series almost to even.
Woo! Yeah, and that was going to be my talking point. Was the army supply differences were very deceiving in the sense that soO's sitting on a lot of tier 1 units, a lot of Ling, a lot of Bane, a lot of Roach, and the supply, although lower for Zest, is just so high tech. Those Archons can just do so much damage against the Zerglings. They can take so many Banelings. What was it? I think somebody measured it out. It takes like 12 to 15 Banelings just to kill one Archon, Salavant. It's so much.
18 Banelings because without upgrades, because Banelings do about 20 damage and Archons have 350 shields and 10 hit points.
It's just so much. And then just really good positioning by Zest to protect his base and protect his more delicate units from attack. And soO's just unable to engage the way he wants to. So it's going to force us into a game number 6. So we are going to see all 7 maps used in this series, because even at this point, if soO does win out, we will be able to see all 7 maps in the pool. We're going to Port Alexander next.
That leaves New Repugnancy for last.
Yes, and that is kind of an interesting map in of itself. So it will be fun to see where our players decide to go in this game number 6. But great opportunity, guys. Check out that Matcherino link. All of our free codes have been used. Thank you so much for helping us take care of that. But these are some good games. If anything, these are great. These are great build orders to check out, and Matcherino will actually allow you to help get these players up and above the $200 prize pool that they are fighting for today. So feel free to check that out. Let's see, where are we at right now? If we had any people brave enough to help support. We have $201.90. Thank you so much for those contributions, guys. Again, all of those free codes have been used. Thank you for helping us out with that. But if you want to go above and beyond, you're more than welcome to. Patreon.com allows us to bring in some more high name and high profile players for the future Pro Series. Maybe number 70. Maybe number 70 we get more. We get the GSL champion. By that point, we would have a season 1 champion decided, and who knows? Who knows what the possibilities might bring for the future. But I will tell you this, I know what's coming up next. It's going to be game number 6 here in this series. On Port Alexander, spawning in the top left-hand corner, our Blue Zerg playing for Chivo. He hasn't won a couple of games here, so he's looking to get himself back into this and take away the bigger part of $200 today. Guys, give it up for Chivo's soO.
And in the bottom right, down but certainly not out, coming back with a vengeance, looking to tie this series up and bring it back to a best of 3, it is Zest. So, I would just like to speak a little bit more about how brilliant that final hole from Zest was.
Yes, please do.
He had Immortals and Archons, and he had them spread out to defend 2 bases at once. He had them all spread out just enough that one Baneling could only ever hit 1 or 2 units. When these Lings and Banes came in, he had the Immortals in front of the Archons, just to allow the Archons to deal more damage, because he knew that unlike most fights, in most fights you want the Archons ahead of the Immortals, because the Immortals do more damage, but against this mostly Ling Bane army, the Archons were the true heavy hitters. So he had his Immortals in front of his Archons, completely against how most people play PvZ, but entirely correct for that moment. He had them ready to defend 2 bases, and he had them perfectly split in order to defend everything. There was nowhere near enough time to talk about that during the game, but it was just some of the most brilliant play I've seen in a long time. It was just perfectly executed in so many ways, and that is how Zest won that fight as hard as he did. He had a huge edge in that fight, but he won it so much harder than most Protosses would have won it. Most Protosses would have won it with maybe 10, 20 supply up. He won with 50.
Well, and that was actually a conversation that we were having before this whole series began, just to share with the audience. It's no secret, both Salavant and I, we're not professional casters. We don't get hired by WCS or Blizzard to help out with their casts. Although, hey, you know, we would. Blizzard, if you're watching, we'd love to help out. But this caliber of player is a little bit higher than what we're used to. So being able to kind of commentate and hit every little nuanced detail in these casts is very, very challenging. And we're doing our best here to give you guys some really good analysis and take a look at everything on the screen. So thank you so much, guys, for hanging out with us. I know I'll speak for myself, but I'm sure I'm speaking for Salavant as well. It's like we love doing this. We both really enjoy casting, and we hope that you guys are enjoying this series between these two high-caliber players.
Absolutely. Now, what do you think soO might want to do now? He's down a couple of games. He's still up in the series, but the momentum has sort of shifted against him. You're the Zerg player, Roshi. What would you do if you were in soO's position?
So we're on game number 6 here on Port Alexander, and this is a pretty more standard map on the pool, I would say. Very easy to get up just a normal economy, get yourself into 3 bases, and get some business taken care of. But I really like Nidus for this map. There's so much space in the main to get a Nidus worm in. Tons of dead space kind of right here to the southwest of Zest's main base. And even you can see up in the top right of Zest's main, he's already got an Overlord that's chilling in some dead air. So there's a lot of space to kind of let those Overlords get some good scouting in, maybe drop down a Nidus. I could see it. I mean, soO's not incapable. We did see him play in GSL just a couple of days ago, and he does feel comfortable using the Nidus worm to his advantage, but it's going to be a matter of whether or not he can pull one over on Zest. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to see here.
Do you think that skipping the Roach Warren again and going for Hydras would be a good idea, or do you think Zest's kind of sniffed that out and it's not going to work for the rest of this series?
Well, I'm not entirely sure here. He is going into a lair. I think we're gonna see it. I think this is gonna be a Ling Queen Nidus all in here, but he's gonna have to be really, really careful. The air vision of Zest is strong right now. Oop, Phoenix is gonna get a pickup here.
He's got 50 drones. I don't think he's gonna go for Nidus all in. I think he's gonna go straight to those Hydralisks, just like he did in game number 1 and 2. I mean, it was working for him. Why not? Why change it?
Yeah,
The question is, can he defend against the Archon drop properly? But he did that in game number 1 just fine.
That's fair. That's fair. So, we are going into this middle portion of the game, and actually not a whole lot of interaction by either player. Zest moving out at that 5-minute mark here to take a 3rd base, so nothing too wild on this side. Zergling is going to scout it, so soO is in the know. But yeah,
we do have that Hydrogen, so yeah, he is just going straight for that and relying on essentially his control with his Ling Queen to protect him.
You're so good. You're so good, Salavant. Very, very knowledgeable player. I'm always in awe casting with you. Baneling's going to be about done as well. It's going to be those Archons coming across the map for Zest to do a little bit of harassment. Once again, just at a really early time point. Lings are going to run by, and Zest's going to think for about half a second, do I deal with those? Nope, he's just going to push right across. He's going to let the Oracle take care of business back at home and take care of the defense, while these Archons go on a hunt for queens and drones.
Yeah, they're going to do some good damage for now, but there are 10 Hydralisks on the way, at which point this Warp Prism's dominance will end. These Archons getting a little deep against these Queens. The Warp Prism could do a lot of damage, but one Queen does go down, forces out a lot of Transfuse energy, but in the end, that is beautiful splitting up by those Queens. 2 of them just barely survive with 1 shot to go, and now the Hydras are out, and suddenly the Warp Prism has to be a bit more careful if it doesn't want to go down. It is already down to yellow health.
These Zerglings doing a really nice job of picking off probes as they're trying to get transferred out to that 3rd base. So being a real nuisance across the map, the Oracle so badly is like, oh, come on, Zest, let me just turn on my beams. But nope, he's saving all that energy. Probably going to get some really nice stasis traps, or at bare minimum, he's going to get some revelations on armies in the near future. So he wants to hang on to that. But it looks like soO's coming across the map here. He's looking to get aggressive. Baneling's being morphed in. Oh, those forward Banelings, that's so bold.
Oh, wow, that is going to be a nasty attack. That Hydraling Bane timing at about 7 minutes, you don't see that as often as you used to.
Well, and here comes the...
never see that these days, but oh wow, this is just so much harder. There's so many Banelings. I think this is going to completely crush his ass. I don't see how he's going to hold this. He's pulling back, but all of these, yeah, that's just it. There's no way. Completely caught off guard is Zest getting into that later stage of the game. It's just like, no, I'm not going to go into that later stage of the game.
Well, and you were absolutely right. You'd sensed that there was going to be an early Hydra push coming out. And we found out our answer. It absolutely worked against Zest. He wasn't able to hold that down. And on a somewhat shorter map like Port Alexander, it's so easy to get that force across the map as quick as possible to deal a lot of damage. And in this case, it was enough to push Zest out of this game. So we're in a fun little position here. We are on match point for soO. soO in position to claim the lion's share of $200. That's a lot of money, man. It's a lot of money for about an hour and a half worth of StarCraft.
Certainly is. Even though it pales in comparison to his $250,000 recent victory.
It is very true. So I mean, it's just gonna be something to just mop up all of the salty Protoss tears from the floor in front of him if that ends up being the case. Guys, I do want to bounce over to our Matcherino because we do have a few people contributing today that I want to make sure that we shout out here. Oh my gosh, look at all of these codes. Might be difficult to try and read through all of these, but I'm going to do my best here. Thank you, everybody who contributed those dollar codes. We do want to give a special shout out to the people that helped contribute out of their own pockets. Giggity Gangster contributing $12.25 and says Zest is best. He is indeed, but he is going to have to keep working hard in this series if he wants to come away with a victory. But thank you so much for your $12.25 contribution. Otherwise, tons and tons of dollar contributions. Zest is best. Go soO. GLHF from Ariok. Thank you so much, guys, for all of your help making it this tournament, the show match, not tournament, possible. Feel free to check out that Patreon, guys. It's so important if you want to support more of these big name players in the future. Check out our Patreon. Let us work for you and create more great content. 250 people. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here today. As we hop into game number 7, it is going to be New Repugnancy. Not my favorite map as a Zerg player, but talk to us really quick. Salavanth, how are you feeling from the Protoss side?
I will have to mention this map as after the game starts, as we are hopping into it now, and we do have the introductions, and there is a little bit to talk about on this map. So we shall get to it right after that. We shall see if we have some spare time. We might not, and you'll find out why in just a second. In the bottom left, on match point, looking to finish it off, it is the Blue Zerg. It is soO from Chivo.
And spawning in the top right, it's our red Protoss player. He's gonna need your energy if he wants to stay in this series much longer. He's got a little bit of work. It's Ocean Gaming's Zest.
So the first thing to note about this map is, while it's pretty uncommon at the pro level, this is actually the best cannon rushing map in the pool. In fact, there is a little bit near the main ramp where you can actually wall off with 2 pylons and get a cannon behind it. And if you place the probe right, you can even glitch out with the probe and get it out of the wall once the cannon's built. So that can be pretty nasty, but it doesn't look like Zest wants to do that. He does want to play a more standard game. So now we're asked, what kind of macro game is this for Protoss? And I think it's generally pretty good. It's a relatively easy 4 bases. It is a bit of a shorter rush distance, more of a medium. It's not quite a King's Cove or Year Zero, but it's certainly not as bad as Cyber Forest. Despite the ramp leading down into the 3rd base, it's actually relatively easy to defend because it's a narrow ramp and you can't really stand on top of it and harass the 3rd base until you get to like lurkers. The 4th base can be a bit difficult to hold though. Depending on which one you take, you can either take the one to the far south for Zest, or you can take the one to the northwest, and both present their own challenges. It can be difficult to hold onto that much territory going to the south, but multi-pronged attacks on both the 3rd and the 4th with Roach Hydra are very strong if you take that more of the 2 o'clock position. So we'll have to see what Zest actually wants to do. All in all, I'd say this is a pretty middle-of-the-road map for Zest in a macro game.
Yeah. soO also opting for a nice little macro opening as well, getting that 3rd base down. He's just feeling really comfortable with that opening. It's going to be Adept first here for Zest, so kind of going back into that more standard scouting timing. Doesn't want to try and dispense the Overlord too quick here, but now it's going to be a decision to see what he decides to go into. And it's going to be a Twilight Council this time, so we're going to delay the Stargate again.
That is new. We have not seen that yet before in this series. A Twilight Council first opening. I wonder what he's going to do. Could this be his very fast Adepts? Could it be... Wait. I think it's got to be either very fast Gladepts or even potentially a Dark Shrine. But he could also, I think he could go into a Charge Lord all-in off of this. Yeah, I think that's what he's doing. I think he's going for a Charge Lord all-in.
And Robotics Facility is going to come down here, so that's more than likely going to produce a Warp Prism to get across the map. But it's going to be what tech comes out of this structure. That is going to be the interesting call, and it's not just us that wants to know. It is going to be soO. The Overlord's going to try and poke in here and see if he can get any scouting done.
Shrine.
But the Stalker is going to push this away, and it's going to keep this guy hidden. The Dark Shrine. What's the old saying there, Salavanth? When behind, Dark Shrine. And Zest is going to channel that inner energy right now. Now, it could be just being used to get Archons out, because it is a slightly faster variation to get Archons out onto the map, so it could potentially not be an all-in or cheesy scenario, but it does offer some interesting potential.
It is what's going to happen. He could try and get some damage done with the DTs first, but he's definitely looking to make them into Archons. It's just a very fast Archon push. It doesn't produce any Stargate units. It's just all in. It's not all in, but it's all out on this Dark Templar attack. Just trying to spend all of one's resources to try and get the absolute fastest Archon drop across the map as possible. And I believe the reason Zest is doing this is because even soO cannot possibly hold this with Ling Queen alone. He has to build a Roach Warren, which means he cannot go for this devastating fast Hydralisk build that has given Zest so many fits. So I think this is actually an incredibly strong build, given what has actually happened. And he is going to go with the DTs and try and get some damage done, attacking these Queens, pulling these DTs back. Oh, is he going to lose one? Yes, he does actually lose one. The Warp Prism is so low. That was, very dangerous for Zest, but he's going to be able to warp in those Archons in the end. He does have a DT to protect the first Archon, and then he can use the first Archon to protect the second Archon as it moves in. So I think he's going to make another Dark Templar. There he is, and he's going to make them into Archons.
Well, and now this is a tough position for Zest to be in. soO was so prepared for this. He had the Spore Crawler down at the front. Lings are actually going to push across the map here and to try and get some damage dealt at third base, which actually has not begun yet.
Yeah, so he's going to get the Zealous, he's going to get the Stalker, he's going to get everything here because the wall is not yet up. So, in the meantime, these Archons try and get some damage done, but do not get some tremendous damage done, and the Warp Prism is getting lower and lower. It's definitely in a lot of danger. If Zest loses that, he'll be in serious trouble. Oh, he loses an Archon. That is not good at all. Meanwhile, there is still no third base for Zest. He's trying to defend with his Zealots and Immortal, and he will fend off most of these Lings. Oh, and he's gonna lose the probe again. But he is going to get that third base started eventually. But now we've got the Evo Chamber, we've got the Hydrogen, we've got the Road Speed nearly finished. soO is in a pretty strong position right now.
Oh, soO defended that like the champion that he is. Pushed everything off, and this delays Zest's third base expansion by a whole minute. That's just way too long for him to delay his economy, and soO is just going to take advantage of this. He's getting everything droned up. He's completely he's actually almost saturated all three bases. Wouldn't be surprised to see a fourth base come here in just a moment. One of the Archons does get replaced, so Zest is able to continue harassing with that Warp Prism. But at this point, it's just to try and keep soO back at home. He's down so much supply. soO's up 14 workers. He's up almost double the army here. And soO's just allowed to continue to barrel forward.
Yeah, soO is just in a tremendous... Look at the supply he already has. I think he's going to max out with Roach Hydra and just break Zest apart. Zest needs that third base in order to get some damage done. Zest is going to try and shark across the map, but I don't think soO's going to be as willing to let him do that this time. I think he's just going to move out and just crush this army. Although it looks like Zest may actually want to attack. He knows he's behind economically, but I don't think this is going to work at all. Oh, look at that position. soO's just going to close in on this, start destroying everything. The Roach Hydra, there was just so much of it. Good force fields from Zest, keeps himself alive for now, but he's down 60 supply. He must respect the sheer army presence of soO right now. Continuing to try and use his force fields to break down. Oh, look at that Archon is at 4 health left.
Well, and
In the
Zest
meantime,
has
Su's
nothing
still in.
behind this. He's only producing army right now. He doesn't have any probes in production. The third base does get completed, but I'm just worried here. soO just has so much, and he's got so much army rallying out of all of his hatcheries. 7, 8 more roaches on the way as well, and Zest just cannot produce at the same speed.
Good catch. This is in fact an all-in, and I don't see it working. Zest tries to move forward again. This time it's not going to work. He's trying to force field in the Zerg, but you're not locked in here with me, says I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in with me. And he's going to charge on forward and say, it is totally fine that you want to close in my whole army. GG. soO will take the game and the series 5-2. Oh, we predicted 5-3, so we were pretty close.
And then your gut call wanted to say 5-2, and you were very, very accurate indeed. But GG to both of our players. Congratulations to soO for landing a lion's share of $200 today in our Alpha Pro Series number 65. Congratulations to both of our players. Let's make sure we wish them GG in the chat. Absolutely. So that is going to do it for our production today. Didn't get to see all 9 games, but you know what? That is okay. Some very great games. Zest not walking away empty-handed does take I believe it's a 30% portion of today's winnings, and does get some really good games out on the map as well. One last opportunity, guys, to catch all things Alpha X SC2. Head over to Twitter, twitter.com/AlphaXSC2. Again, we do love putting on these pro series, and we want to try and bring you great, high-quality content all of the time. If you want to see more matches like this in the future, head up to our Patreon, patreon.com/AlphaXSC2, where you can check this out. And actually, we are not done. I forgot. We're going to have a post-game interview here with our winner, soO, and it's going to be translated by Hajin.
Yes, we are doing that.
We
I was
are.
not certain if we were still doing that. That is great.
I'm going to double check because I see Hajin still in the chat. Yes, that's going to be on Discord here. So I apologize. Not done yet. I got to make sure to post so I don't accidentally run people away. But we are going to get to that here. That we are going to get that done. So we're going to get queued up for that here in just a moment. Let's see. All right. We're going to get ourselves set up. And I think, Salavanth, I think I'm going to have to bounce you for just a moment because they've created a different Discord call for us. So we're going to say goodbye to you, but only for a couple of seconds.
No problem.
All right. So guys, we are going to get up here into a winner interview with soO. Hajin-sun is going to be doing our translating today. Oh gosh, I'm so excited. This is going to be a great conversation with our winner. We're very, very, very interested here in hearing what soO has to say. All right, thanks so much for being patient, guys. We'll go ahead and jump in here.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hajin, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Good, and you?
Oh, we are doing great. We're even better after casting this awesome series.
Sorry, I'm a bit sick. Is my voice okay?
Oh, it is going to be great. Sorry you're not feeling well today.
Is soO here? I'll text him.
All right, folks. We are just waiting on Sue to join our call, and we'll take care of our winners interview. Just one last opportunity, guys, to check out that Patreon page, patreon.com/alphaxsc2. Again, we love bringing in Hajin. We're so grateful for her to take care of our translating today so we can communicate and talk with our winner, Sue, the IEM Katowice champion. But we do want to bring forward more opportunities in the future to bring in high-tier players. So check out our Patreon. Let us know if you want to see more content like this in the future. But of course, you can also keep supporting Matcherino today for today's event. Click that link. Thank you so much, guys, for using all of those free codes as well. Very, very happy to take care of that. And what was our final number here? We're going to have to take a peek really quick and see. $214.15. Guys, that's insane. We're so happy to be able to give that to our players today. Thank you so much for your help with all of that.
Yeah, this may be the single largest prize pool pro series we've ever had, I think.
I think you're absolutely right, and it's cool to be able to offer this kind of amount for these players. So I do stress the importance, if you want to see more content like this in the future, guys, to hit us up on Patreon. The dollar talks, and if we see that you guys want to contribute towards this large prize pool, we'll certainly offer it again in the future.
We do definitely have plans in the works. I can't reveal precisely who we are looking at, but we're definitely looking at some high-level Korean players. Definitely GSL caliber players who will be participating and giving us some matches that are just as good as today's one, if we can get these players around.
Yeah, and it's always tricky,
Just
especially this time of year. I mean, these players are playing in really high-level competitive tournaments, and every opportunity to put them out in the atmosphere for events like this, it does kind of expose them. They get some builds out there. Maybe they play something that they're really enjoying, that's strong, and it does become easy to study. So we do appreciate it when these players step out. Like, I know Sue, I mean, continuing to play in GSL afterwards. I mean, yeah, it's a great opportunity to grab these players, and we're so grateful that they're willing to give us their time.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. We're going to bounce to a short break here while we wait for Sue to hop into this call. Thank you so much for being patient, guys. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere. We've got a players interview with Hajin-sun and Sue. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
젖어서.
아 그래?
All right, and we are back, folks. We are back with our winner, GG soO. Thank you for joining us.
예, 축하드립니다.
땡큐.
soO, congratulations on winning today's show match between you and Zest. But more importantly, congratulations on your recent victory at IEM Katowice. Tell us your feelings about that. How is it now a week later from winning IEM Katowice?
우선 오늘 쇼매치 우승하신 것도 축하드리지만 카토비체 우승을 더욱더 축하드립니다. 어제 일주일이 지났는데 어떤가요, 느낌이?
아직도 그 우승 뽕에 차 있고 그렇기 때문에 게임에 아직은 집중을 하지 못하고 있는 상태인데 그래도 오늘 일단 이겨서 기분 좋고 그래도 이 기분을 너무 행복해가지고 좀 더 느껴야 될 것 같아요.
So I'm still buffed by this victory, and it feels so good, and I still can't focus in the game, but I'm still happy I won today, and I want to keep this nice mood, nice feeling of winning.
That's awesome.
All right. You seem to have an upper hand over most of the series, but was there anything Zest did that surprised you or that you didn't expect?
오늘 경기를 하면서 약간 주성욱 선수 간 플레이 중에 예상치 못한 그런 플레이가 있었나요?
우주관문 플레이를 요새 안 해가지고 토스들이 무관 안 할 줄 알았는데 처음부터 좀 정석적으로 해가지고 좀 놀랐네요.
So actually the Protosses, they don't really go Stargate nowadays, but he did it and he played a really classical way, so I was a bit surprised.
Interesting. It's very interesting to know that Stargate is falling out of the meta. That is not something I was aware of, and something that I'm sure our viewers would love to hear. Alright. A couple more questions and I'll hand it over to Roshi. How do you maintain your passion to continue to compete in these smaller events when these major events make up so much of your career? What drives you to continue to compete at every opportunity you can get, even in these smaller show matches?
이제 카토비체 같이 큰 대회를 이제 우승하시고도 이렇게 작은 이벤트 경기들을 참가하시는데 어디서부터 그런 열정과 동기부여가 나오나요?
일단은 그 실력이 줄어들어서 그러니까 대회 성적을 못 내면은 사람들한테 좀 무시받고 그런 게 싫어가지고 최대한 열심히 하려고 하고 있고 그리고 이렇게 작은 대회라도 좀 자주 출전하다 보면은 실력이 늘기 때문에 그런 이유로 계속 참가하고 있습니다.
Well, people tend to like kind of ignore you if your performance goes worse. So that's why I keep participating into all these small events, small show matches, because I think the more you play and the better you get. That's why I keep playing.
Alright, thank you very much. My last question before I hand it over to Roshi. You went for fast Hydras in a lot of those games, skipping the Roach War entirely. Is that more of a meta thing to do in Korea these days, or is there a reason you knew that you could do that in this particular series?
오늘 경기에 히드라를 되게 빨리 뽑으셨는데요. 그게 요새 메타인가요? 아니면 왜 그렇게 하셨나요?
요새 메타이기도 하고 저랑 좀 잘 어울리는 유닛인 것 같아서 히드라하고 있습니다.
Well, it's Hydra, the Rushing Hydra. It's part of the meta, but it's also a unit that I like, and its style, it fits me. So that's why I play like this.
Alright, fantastic. Roshi, do you have any questions that you want to add onto the ones that we have asked so far?
Yes, I do. I've got 2 questions, and then we'll send you on your way. Something we've noticed recently in the meta is the use of the Nidus Worm and its popularity right now. But noticing in your IEM, your GSL, and today in your show match play, you don't use the Nidus Worm very much. What are your thoughts on Nidus Worm play in Zerg right now, and do you think that you'll start using it more in the future?
요새 메타에 저그 중에 이제 땅굴망이 되게 많이 사용이 돼요. 근데 이제 여윤 선수를 보면은 뭐 카토비체나 뭐 GSL에도 그렇게 많이 사용하는 것 같진 않은데, 어떤가요, 요새 땅굴망? 그래도 나중에 쓸 예정인가요?
저도 땅굴망이 좋다고 생각하는데 IM에서는 아직 연구를 제가 안 해서 괜히 어설프게 쓰면은 역효과 날 것 같아서 안 썼고 앞으로 좀 연구를 해가지고 쓸 생각입니다.
So I think, yeah, the Nados, indeed, it's good, but I hadn't practiced enough for Katowice, so I didn't really want to use it when I wasn't sure about it. And, but in the future, I might, but I have to do some research first.
That's really cool. So of course, and our final question today, of course, the community is so in support of you winning Katowice. I heard that the billboard outside of the GSL location is going to be going up. That's a very big surprise. But you've already secured your ticket to BlizzCon for this year. Talk to us about the rest of the year for you, what your plans are, and anything you might want to say to your fans.
이제 카토비ce 이후로 팬들분에게 정말 많은 사랑을 받으셨어요. 그 삼성역에 광고판도 붙여진다고 알고 있는데, 특히 이제 카토비ce 우승으로 블리즈컨 이제 그 가시는 거잖아요. 그래서 이제 올해 남은 목적에 대해서 궁금하네요.
일단 팬들의 과분한 사랑이 너무 고맙고 그렇지만 아직 초반이기 때문에 아직 초반인데 제가 아직 방심할 단계는 아니라고 생각하고 계속 좀 열심히 해가지고 블리즈컨이랑 GSL도 잘 해야 팬들이 더 인정해 줄 것 같아요. 그래서 계속 열심히 할 생각입니다.
So I'm really thankful to all my fans for all their love. But it's still the beginning of the year. So I have to stay on my guard and keep try-harding and do my best to perform in GSL, but also BlizzCon.
Awesome. Thank you
Okay,
so much, Sue.
I have just a question, please,
Yes.
Rishi.
Oh,
Just a
yes.
little question.
Let's get Miguel in here. One quick question from Miguel,
Yeah,
our
sorry for
French
the
caster.
Yeah, I have just one question. We saw you playing like really macro games, except on Cyber Forest, right? I was just wondering if was that because you just feel confident against Protoss and against Zest in particular, and you think your macro is good, or you just don't like going Nidus, Fire, or just all-ins on one or two bases?
오늘 경기했을 때 약간 수정 선수 상대로 운영 게임을 많이 갔는데요. 그게 왜 그러신 거예요? 그러니까 자신이 있는 건가요? 아니면은 좀 다른 거는 하기 싫었던 건가요?
IM에서 제가 3대 0으로 한번 이겼기 때문에 좀 자신감 있게 한번 해봤고 성욱이도 준비를 많이 안 했을 거라고 생각해서 한번 기본기 대결하자는 마인드로 해봤는데 역시 제 예상이 맞듯이 성욱이가 연습을 그렇게 많이 안 한 것 같더라고요. 그렇기 때문에 쉽게 이길 수 있었습니다.
So I won against Zest 3-0, so I was pretty confident coming into this game, and I thought that he wouldn't have really prepared for this match, and so that's why I went for the classic macro game, and it went as I predicted, and I hope I won.
Okay, thanks a lot. Well, thanks a lot, Sue. I'll let the final word to Rishi, but just continue playing, Sue. You have our full support, and thanks a lot for this amazing match.
All right. Thank you so much, Sue. GG. Well played today.
Thank you.
수고하셨습니다.
And thank you
Thank you very much, Hajin and Sue, for essentially participating in this. We really appreciate it, and we couldn't do events like this without you.
Yes, thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you for
Thanks.
organizing this.
Yes,
Bye
feel better
bye.
soon. And that, my friends, that will be the end of our production today. Thank you so much to everybody. GG, well played to both of our players, but thank you very much to Sue for taking time to join us for our winners interview. Once again, thank you to Hajin Sun. We literally could not do this interview without her and her assistance and her knowledge of the StarCraft 2 community. We are going to wrap everything up here. Feel free, guys, check out all of our social media. Check us out on Twitter. Check us out on Patreon. You guys have heard me say it enough today. I won't run it down one more time. But let's go ahead and do our final little shout-outs here. Salavanth, if they want to catch you, where can they find you?
The only place I can be found, unfortunately, is right here on this channel. I am in Australia. I still do not have the internet required to stream. I'm hoping to do that sometime this year. But starting at the beginning of April, we will be running the Champions Cup, a $500 tournament with all the best of Alpha X has to offer, including players like Estrella and Starkiller, and I'll be casting that each week. So you'll be able to catch me there. More details as we get closer will be on our Twitter.
Absolutely, and I am also enjoying casting for these Alpha X Pro Series events. You can catch me occasionally. Usually if you see a Zerg in the lineup, I definitely have my toe in that water. But you can also catch me at twitter.com/RushySC. You can also catch my own stream, twitch.tv/RushySC. I'm a Diamond 1 Zerg, so I'm still working, trying to be the next soO. Well, maybe not the next soO, but someday we'll break ourselves into Masters. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. What a great cast. I hope you guys had as much fun as we did. But for now, it'll be time to say so long. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you for the Alpha X Pro Series number 66. Who knows who we'll have next time? You'll just have to find out. Thanks so much, guys. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you are. Take care.
Nuclear missile ready.